creepy title aside, many of you have probably never heard of Liquid Kids. That's probably because it was a rather obtuse Taito arcade game that only ever saw the light of day on the PC Engine and Sega Saturn in Japan. But Liquid Kids stars a kidnapped girlfriend rescuing, water bubble blowing, anthropomorphic platypus, who is incorrectly referred to as a hippo in the game because his name is Hippopo for some reason. And I've just broke my brain describing that. Good old early 90s video game development. Though Liquid Kids' biggest claim to fame is that it's a sort of sequel to The New Zealand Story, one of the few pre-Sonic animal mascot success stories. That probably doesn't really mean much to anyone outside of Europe. Well, outside the UK and who grew up in the 1980s, come to think of it. But The New Zealand Story was huge here for some reason. Like Super Mario 3 big. Heck, you'd be a Gaylord of Joey Deacon proportions at school if you didn't own it at the time, as pretty much everyone had a copy. It was on every system imaginable, and was even bundled with a couple to boot. Now, the home ports of The New Zealand Story were developed by everyone's favourite British licensee, Ocean Software. So when Ocean learned that Taito were working on a sequel not sequel follow-up, they jumped at the chance of nomming that lucrative copyright cake. So they threw their entire French subsidiary into full steam making ports, and a year later we were bestowed the sequential to one of the biggest video games out there. Except that never happened. So what was the stupid reason for the game being cancelled? Well, Ocean France developed and finished the entire game in less than 10 months. And in all that time, not a single person checked to see if they actually secured the rights to make it in the first place. Yep, it's a license without a license. Of course, Ocean could have obtained the license from Taito. After all, they were best buddies, so Taito would have obviously said yes to the deal. But more lack of communications meant that Ocean France had only developed an Amiga port. And as insane as it was making AAA Amiga games at that time anyway, they not only axed the game, but shut down Ocean France as well. The Amiga port was eventually leaked onto the interwebs in 2003, complete in all its English glory. But it's such a shame it never saw the light of day in the West, as it's a pretty fun platformer. But we can all thank Ocean for counting their eggs before they've hatched. You know, as platypuses lay eggs. Yeah, get it? I'll get my coat.